The Realme X2 Pro is going to be launching in India in a couple of days. I've managed to get my hands on it, I've unboxed it, and if you've not checked out that video, here's a card to it. Go ahead, check it out right now. Now, I think it's a good idea to compare it against the Redmi K20 Pro. A lot of you guys wanted to see this video, and I think it actually makes sense. What are the differences between these two? Which is the better pick? Well, that's what we're going to find out in today's video. Hey guys, Ash here from C4eTech, and if you do end up liking what you see with this comparison, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications by hitting the bell icon. Let's now get this video started. Now, we've seen a lot of glass sandwich designs this year, and these two phones in front of us, they're no different. We have Corning's Gorilla Glass 5 protecting both sides, while a metal frame, it holds them together. From a build perspective, they feel equally good in hand, and there's not a lot of difference with weight either, so it all boils down to the design choices. Realme has gone with a lot more subtle gradient finish here, while the one on the K20 Pro, it's aggressive. At least that is how I see it. Of course, looks are very subjective, so I'm gonna leave this choice to you guys. Personally, I kinda like the K20 Pro, but what is it that you prefer? And does that logo placement to the back of the X2 Pro bother you? Here's a poll. Let me know what your pick is. Now, one thing of note here is that both these phones, they come with rubber grommets around their SIM trays, but there is no official water or dust resistance rating on either device. Let's now turn the phones around and take a look at those displays. The obvious difference here is that notch. We have a tiny water drop notch on the X2 Pro, while the K20 Pro opts for a full screen display. Other than that, these two displays are pretty similar. The resolution's the same, Full HD+, the technology is the same, AMOLED, and they both have pretty thin bezels. Even the sizes are similar. It's 6.5 inches on the Realme compared to 6.39 inches on the Redmi. So the lack of the notch here makes it an advantage for the Redmi, but use them for a bit and you can feel another major difference. The panel on the X2 Pro, it has a 90Hz refresh rate. This makes everything feel so much smoother. Now, as far as the quality of the panels go, both of them have deep inky blacks, excellent contrast and rich colors. So both have their own sets of pros here. Yes, you're gonna have a notch on the X2 Pro, but you do get a higher refresh rate. On the other hand, the K20 Pro, no notch, all screen, but 60 Hz. So again, it is gonna boil down to personal preference. What is it that you want? So I'm gonna leave this to you guys as well. I mean, personally here, I'm gonna wanna go with the 90Hz panel. I like that smoothness. I could probably live with that notch. Again, that's what I feel. Now, if it comes to media consumption, it's not just about video, but also the audio matters. And here the X2 Pro's dual stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos, it really helps. The sound is louder and richer. As far as the audio output via the headphone jack is concerned, they're more or less similar. Now let's move on to the hardware. Both these phones sport flagship Qualcomm chips, but the 855 Plus inside the Realme, it's slightly faster. It's the higher clock version of the Snapdragon 855 that's at the heart of the Redmi K20 Pro. As a result, we have higher benchmark scores on the X2 Pro. That said, when it comes to regular day-to-day use, both these phones are blazing fast. MIUI as well as ColorOS both feel very responsive. If you ask me to choose again, I'd probably choose the X2 Pro here. And again, it's gonna be because of that 90Hz refresh rate. It makes a lot of difference to our perception of speed. It makes the X2 Pro feel more responsive to the touch. Apps seem to open up a split second faster. And as far as memory goes, we have 664, 8128 and 12256 variants for the Realme X2 Pro. The base variant comes with UFS 2.1 storage, which is slower than UFS 3.0 that's available for the other two variants. The K20 Pro is available in flavors of 6128 and 8256, both UFS 2.1. The higher 128GB base storage is an advantage for the Redmi since there is no microSD option on either device. But technically, Redmi does sell a 64GB K20 Pro in China. It's only in India that they offer 128 as a base, and as of now, we don't know what it is that Realme is going to be offering as a base in India. So hey, Realme can also sell the 64 as exclusive in China and start off with the 128 in India. Only time will tell. So anyway, with gaming, there's a higher clock here on the Realme again. That said, both these phones are powerful enough to run pretty much any game you throw at it. I couldn't make out any difference here except for the refresh rate. So this round, thanks to the UFS 3.0 options and the Snapdragon 855 Plus, I'm gonna have to give this to the X2 Pro. That said, if you already own a K20 Pro, there's nothing for you to worry about. Your K20 Pro is gonna perform just as well. Moving on to battery life, we have a 4000 mAh unit on both phones with screen sizes and chipsets and the display technology all being pretty similar. The battery life here, it is how it holds up. It is all pretty similar. The software optimizations, MIUI, ColorOS, they are generally decently optimized and they come with several battery saving features as well. In our experience, the 4000 mAh battery should last all but the heaviest user for at least one entire day. So here, battery life, both phones, they seem to be on even footing until we take into consideration the charging. Now here's where Realme takes a huge lead. The SuperVOOC charging here, it can cause the phone to go from 0 to 100 in just 35 minutes. That's what they tease. In our testing, it went from 0 to 100 in 31 minutes. The 50-watt fast charger is included in the box. The K20 Pro, on the other hand, it charges fast too. It's got support for 27-watt fast charging, but it's got only an 18-watt fast charger included in the box. It takes over an hour to get from 0 to 100, so this is advantage Realme. Now, one of the main problems of proprietary fast charging technology like SuperVOOC or Watt Charge is that it needs a special cable and charger in order to work. The Realme X2 Pro solves this by supporting USB PD as well as 18-watt quick charge. So technically, you can even use the K20 Pro's included charger to charge the X2 Pro quickly. On-par battery, faster charging and wide compatibility, this round X2 Pro again. Now with the hardware taken care of, let's move on to software. We have MIUI 10 on the K20 Pro and ColorOS 6.1 on the X2 Pro, both based on Android 9 Pie. The K20 Pro should be receiving an update to MIUI 11 soon, and rumors have that Realme might be launching the X2 Pro in India with ColorOS 7. So as it stands now, we would have to test out the device further and see what new features have been added post the updates. Both MIUI and ColorOS, they have their own pros and cons, and ultimately, again, a lot of this, the software itself, it boils down to personal preference. Generally, this is where I would favor ColorOS because MIUI has its own ad issues. But recently, we've been seeing Realme testing out ads on their beta version of ColorOS. They've said it's only in beta, we aren't going to be pushing it out, but hey, it's in beta, make what you want of it. I don't know what to say about it. So anyway guys, what do you prefer, MIUI or ColorOS? I will leave a poll here. Let me know what you guys prefer. And also leave a comment down below on what you feel about the ad situation overall with regards to software. We've seen Xiaomi do it, or rather Redmi do it, and it seems like Realme is kind of tinkering around with it. Samsung's kind of treaded those waters in the past. So what do you guys feel about ads in the user interface? Leave a comment below. Now finally, a quick look at the sundries before we move on to optics. Both phones come with under the display fingerprint scanners as well as face unlock, but in our testing it seemed like the X2 Pro was a bit faster with both. The K20 Pro, it hits right back with the presence of a notification LED inside that pop-up camera. It kind of looks really cool. Now moving on to the optics, this is gonna be a big one. The primary cameras here are the 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 on the Redmi and the 64 megapixel Samsung ISOCELL Bright GW1 sensor on the Realme. Now these two are very similar in terms of quality. It's really hard to tell them apart. In some shots though, like this one of the house with the tree in front, we can see that the dynamic range is better on the X2 Pro. The darker areas of the picture are more evenly lit here. Other than that, there's not much to separate them. Now with low light imaging, Realme's got some new low light algorithms working for the X2 Pro. The colors look a bit more saturated on the Realme. The processing is a lot cleaner. Like with this picture here, there are a lot more artifacts in the sky and the leaves look a lot more smudged out with the K20 Pro. The Realme does a better job at preserving the detail. With the X2 Pro, we also get nightscape for the wide-angle camera. It seems to make a pretty big difference here, like with this image of the JCB. Now talking about the wide-angle camera, the higher megapixel count on the Redmi doesn't seem to account for a noticeable increase in quality. We were a little surprised when comparing the 13 megapixel Redmi shots to the 8 megapixel Realme shots. Zooming in, you can see a bit of over sharpening with the X2 Pro, while on the K20 Pro, you just get blurred out detail. But I guess that's alright. This is a secondary shooter after all, and the colors and dynamic range on both are pretty decent. Realme does have a macro trick up its sleeve. The wide angle also pulls double duty to shoot macro. It makes for some interesting pictures like this. Maybe this is something Redmi can also add in the future. Now, coming to the telephoto sensor, the megapixel count, it kind of gets reversed here. Realme has the advantage. We have 8 megapixels on the K20 Pro, 13 on the Realme, both making for 2x optical zoom. But Realme also provides us with a 5x hybrid and 20x digital zoom. Now, forget the digital zoom, that's just marketing. What's really amazing here is the amount of detail that Realme has been able to pull out with their hybrid zoom functionality. Even at 2x zoom, the images captured by the X2 Pro are sharper. Zooming in, we can see that clearly with the texture on this wall, for example. The final sensor on the X2 Pro is a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The K20 Pro doesn't have a dedicated sensor for depth. Even then, the K20 Pro does seem to do a better job actually with edge detection. I also like the skin tones with the K20 Pro better. Additionally, we have an option to shoot zoomed in portraits with the telephoto sensor. This is not something we can do with the X2 Pro. While both phones let us change the amount of background blur, it is the K20 Pro that offers a lot of cool lighting modes. Turning around to the selfie camera, we have a pop-up 20 megapixel snapper on the K20 Pro going head to head with a 16 megapixel snapper on the X2 Pro. Realme has done a fine job with the selfies. The skin tones, they're natural, the pictures sharper, and if you zoom in, you can see the individual strands on Venkat's beard here. The K20 Pro has a lot of over sharpening going on, and the colors and skin tones look a bit off. Even at a portrait mode, the Realme is again ahead on edge detection. But to Redmi's credit, it does keep the background from being overexposed. Now, taking a look at videos, Realme has UIS, which is heavy stabilization with a crop. This is available at 1080p. Redmi hits right back with the ability to track moving objects and keep focus on it while shooting a video. Realme has an option to shoot portrait video. It's not perfect, but it seems good enough. It's also available for the front camera, and also available for the front camera is electronic stabilization. So overall, with stills, it's pretty close, but I'd still give it to the X2 Pro. And with video and selfies, it's outright the X2 Pro. So optics, I'm gonna have to go with Realme here. So finally, we get to the pricing. The Redmi K20 Pro begins at 26,000 rupees today. We don't know anything about the official pricing of the X2 Pro yet, but seems like Realme would be keeping this under 30,000 rupees. And if they manage to do that, then yeah, we take a hit on storage, but in exchange we'd end up getting a faster processor, a display with a higher refresh rate, a 50-watt charger in the box, one of the fastest around, and better cameras too. So the Realme X2 Pro seems to be the better pick here. In the X2 Pro, Realme seems to have a strong contender to Redmi's budget flagship throne. And as long as they don't screw up the pricing and do something ridiculous, like price this phone at 39,900 or something, the X2 Pro should be a great option. That said, the K20 Pro is still a good option. I mean, if you already own a K20 Pro, there's nothing to regret here. It still comes pretty close to this phone, and it is priced cheaper. So if you're on a budget constraint or something, you could still go with the K20 Pro. It still seems to be good value for money. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much it for this comparison video. Do you agree with my conclusion here? What do you think? Do you feel I missed out on something? And if you were to buy a phone in the sub 30K segment, which one would you choose and why? Let me know in the comments below. So thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about this video. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name is Ash. You've been watching C4 Retech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.